Well, whether it's clothing from the 90s or furniture from the 60s, buying vintage is, I mean, it's hugely popular now. But how do you know what you're buying is really worth the price? Kendall met up with some vintage shopping experts, taking part in the Vintage Fall Crawl.
I have finally found a place where I match everything inside. Thanks for doing that for me, Amanda. I really appreciate you curating your entire store over my hot pink dress.
I did add a lot of pink for you today. I call that Peggy pink.
Peggy pink.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, I love everything in here, obviously, because it's so bright and it's so fun. We were talking about like curating vintage, because not everything old is cool, but everything in here is old and cool. So how do you do that?
Well, I really just trust my gut. I am always out thrifting at garage sales, at estate sales. This year I've gone to Florida a few times. I went to Palm Springs.
Is that where all the bright stuff is from?
It's from everywhere. Wisconsin. I find stuff all over, and the cool thing about my job is that it's flexible and I can travel and send stuff
Which, by
home.
the way, like at some point we will see all the vintage totes up top. I'm like, you could just bring it all home and all that, right?
Yes.
Right, right, that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, I, again, obviously love vintage, but you guys are doing a vintage crawl. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you got this idea from like beer crawls.
Last year, my wife got a pub pass.
I have a pub pass.
You have a pub pass.
Yes.
Okay. So this involved her dragging me along to breweries. I don't really love going to breweries or drinking beer. It's not super my jam, but I love hanging out with my wife, and then we would go thrifting and make a day of it. I was thinking, what if we did this for vintage shops? And I started talking to my friend who owns Mustache Cat, Rebecca, and we were like, we need to make this happen. We had a couple of meetings and we sat down and we were like, okay, what do we want it to look like? And we decided that we wanted it to be women-owned businesses across Minneapolis and St. Paul, and we wanted it to raise money for a good cause.
Right, tell me about that, because that's what I really love about all this. I love a good shopping excuse. I love that I can find new places in your book that I maybe haven't been before.
Yes.
But the bigger thing here being that $10 actually goes to something that's so important.
Yes. Okay, so when you get your passport, it has a map on the front with all of the stores that are involved.
Okay.
And inside it has a description of all of the shops and
like you,
like me, and their hours and kind of what their vibe is, what they carry. And then in the back, on the back page, it has a place for all of your stamps.
Oh, like a real passport.
Yes. And so when you come in here, you will get a little strawberry stamp that says that you were here. And once you get all 12 stamps, you turn in your passport and 3 people will win gift cards to all of the stores.
Oh, nice.
So that's
it's like a game.
too. But yeah, so they're $10 and it's all going to women's advocates in St. Paul. They provide resources and support for women getting out of domestic abuse situations.
Right.
We just thought it would be a really good way to get people shopping, supporting small businesses, supporting women-owned businesses, and also giving back to our community.
Doing good things.
Yes.
Doing good things for good people.
Yeah.
Okay, shop?
Yes, let's do it.
Shop.
Let's
Shop?
No offense to our guest. No offense to... The only thing that I heard in all of that is that 90s clothes are now vintage. That's, I mean, you lost me right there.
I know, it's hard. Well, I mean, you go into those places and I'm like, oh, I wore that.
Yeah, and what's the rule? What is there, if you wore it once, you can't wear it again? Like if you went through it once.
You don't have to wear it again. That is the thing, because if you want to wear it again, wear it. But if you're like, oh, I don't really like it when it first
but I mean, if
happened.
you lived through the trend once, you probably shouldn't live it again. You know what I mean?
Excuse me, big flares are cool again, and I'm totally into it.
What?
Big flare pants.
Big
they
flare
were cool
pants?
when I was like in the early 2000s.
But what, okay,
rise,
but then I've actually gone through that twice then, because the 90s and I was a kid in the 70s. So I mean, you know, I was a little kid. So
you can get your flares back out.
No, you know what? I'm flared enough. You know what I mean?
Fully flared.
I don't need to flare anymore. According to most, I'm flared out. You know what I mean?
Oh, Jason.
I don't know, but it's just a rule. I don't know.
Okay. Well, and, my big thing when I go into vintage is like, is this worth it too? You know, so when talking to her about it you just have to look for certain things. And if you go into a small store like that, like they've already done all the work for you.
Absolutely.
Which is fantastic.
And she looks like, what's her name?
Amanda.
Amanda, if you look exactly like, I said she's so cool. She looks exactly what you think someone would look like that owns a cool vintage store.
Oh, yeah.
She's so hip. Yeah.
Totally.
The Vintage Fall Crawl runs through November 21st. Head to vintagefallcrawl.com for more information. And if you're watching other places, come visit us. We'll be right back. Back in a moment, everybody.